What's up, y'all? It's your girl EJ.
It's Tika.
And y'all, we're going to be talking about The Boys. This is the season finale. This is episode 8. Now, listen, we are watching this for the very first time, and we have made it all the way to the end. And when I tell y'all that it has been a roller coaster of a ride, it has been a roller coaster. Now, first off, please make sure y'all go ahead and drop down and like, share, subscribe, do all the things because we're about to jump into this episode.
Talk that talk, TV. We back again.
So when the episode opens up, it actually opens up with Homelander going to save the day. So it was weird for me, Tika, because he comes in there, jumps on top of the car, and he's like, listen, y'all go take a smoke, okay? And he's going to go in there and just do his thing because, you know, the boys, they ready. They got their guns, they locked and loaded, and they ready to go. I'm like, okay, Homelander, what we doing? And they over in Syria somewhere, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, they're definitely in Syria. Homelander has stepped in. He's the big bad superhero. He's here to save the day, and you know the soldiers are there. They are there to do their job because you know there's some stuff going on. They've been sent over there for a reason.
Okay, and then he started taking everybody out. I said, "Oh my God, okay, you doing the most." I mean, he just up there blazing everybody up, like, and when that one guy is running off, he comes out of there and he's just like, just cuts him in half. I said, Homelander just don't care. Like, he really don't care at all. But that's going to bring us to the point where we got Madeline, right? Madeline is sitting there and she's talking to, if I'm not mistaken, he's the defense because they've been trying to get into the army. Like, they've been trying to prove that they deserve to be there, right? Supposedly, allegedly, someone has created some sort of bootleg Compound V, right? And now there are these other anti-heroes, I guess I'm gonna call them. I don't know, villains, I guess we'll call them that, because I don't know what to call them, because these soups ain't really villains. I mean, really ain't soups. They villains to me. So whatever you want to call them, they are out there now, right? So now, you know, what are they gonna do? Like, who's gonna help with this? They want to get rid of the soups and they want to get rid of and expose Voight for what they are, but now they push up against a wall.
Yeah, they definitely pushed up against the wall, but Singer doesn't think that someone has actually stolen the Compound V. Who's Secretary of Defense or Deputy Defense Secretary or whatever, Defense Singer. He is the one that does not believe that, you know, this Compound V was just recreated out of the blue. He thinks that this is an inside job. And of course, Madeline has to prove that no, somebody actually took it from us. And, you know, we're going to find out a little bit later that what really happened.
Exactly, that part. Because they had me believing, I ain't even gonna lie to you. But pretty much from there, she's just like, she got them by the balls at that point, because what can they do? They need these other amped up people in order to fight the other amped up people, right? And that's the only way. So now we're at this crossroads where, okay, Voight is here to stay. We can't expose them. And now Raynor has to do the job of telling your boy. And woo, girl.
Yeah, and they're already, as it is, they're already, their lives have literally been taken from them. They're wanted. And Bush just wants, yes, he wants to take Homelander down, but primarily he wants the others, being Frenchie and Mother's Milk and, you know, Huey. He wants everybody else, you know, to be protected, because they can't really even go out without, you know, being recognized, or you're a criminal, you're a war criminal, and all this other stuff that they have going on. So he's big mad, as he should be, with Raynor, because she betrayed him. You know, she, in the beginning, she assured him that they would be able to, you know, she would be able to help them and protect them. But it looks like she is, you know, all about herself. And then, like, he's like, how many times do I gotta, like, give you Compound V, or what else do I need to do to prove to you that Vault is out here doing the dirt? And so he's big mad. And of course, as you know, EJ, they're gonna have to go their separate ways. They don't want to go their separate ways, but Huey, as well as Butcher, are like, or Butcher primarily, he's always leading everything, but he's saying, well, let's go, y'all just wait here, don't go anywhere just yet, let me go handle something first, and then we can kind of make a decision as to what we're going to do, because they just want to be safe, they want to be protected.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, it's like MM and Frenchie, they each have something to lose at this point, because we got to remember that Frenchie still has this girl, right? She's still out there somewhere. And then he has this new kind of adopted daughter that he's kind of taken on. He'll take them down. But everybody else is like the FBI looking for us, this person looking for us, the CIA. Like, no, we are fugitives. We got to go. Like, what are we doing here? So, of course, he takes Huey with him. And then that's when we get on over to Starlight. And Starlight, big mad girl. Big mad at her mama. And her mama got an earful.
As she should be. Listen, mama done betrayed her to the ultimate amount of levels. She's lied to her about, her father actually leaving. The real reason why she left all this time. She made Starlight, aka Annie, feel like she was so special. And then come to find out, they've been popping baby girl Annie with the compound B. And she was trying to ask her mama, like, what did you even gain from this? Was it money? Like, what was it? And that heifer gonna say, some medical bills. They paid the medical bills. I'm like, wait, you sacrificed your daughter basically for glory, for fame, and some medical bills to be paid? Like, you didn't even say whether Annie was like sick as a baby or anything. You just basically allowed them to pump her full of compound B, a substance that could have actually taken her out. And then the reason her father ended up bouncing was because, he agreed to it in the beginning, but when he found out and saw what was really going on, it was like, nah, I gotta go.
Mm-hmm. Not that I really agree with his approach to it, but I do feel like we might be missing a little bit of piece of the story because mama don't seem like she really forthcoming about the full truth. I feel like she's selling half truths right now just so she can smooth it over. And while I'm not saying that what she did was right, I can understand a mother wanting what's best for their kids and feeling like this was going to be something great. But in this case, I really do feel like Annie's mom feels like she is the one who wants all of this. It feels like it wasn't for the greater good of Annie. You know what I'm saying? It feels like it was for her own notoriety at the end of the day. So it's like, it's that little middle ground that you have. Like, you see, like, maybe she cares about Annie. I'm not saying she don't, but at the same time, come on now, mama, like you had to have known better. But I do feel like we are missing a little bit of a piece of it. But we got to move on to Deep. The Deep is out here. We hadn't talked since about the Deep situation, where the Deep actually gets his just desserts, right? We have an episode where the Deep got what he deserved, and I'm sorry, it is what it is. You did something to somebody, and somebody took advantage of you. He out here in Sandusky, Ohio, out of all the places in the world, and now he wants to get out. He's like, now that the 7 is about to get deployed, Sir, I'm sorry to be the one to inform you. I don't think you really a part of the 7 no more, and they just don't want to tell you. Like, okay.
Listen, all the Deep can do is sit down with his $75 per day per diem and make smoothies and wish and hope that there's some crime out there that he can go and solve, some oceanistic of cause that he can help. But like you said, EJ, right now, the 7 are not messing with him, and he clearly hasn't gotten a hint. I think this is another one of those moments where we're gonna see him get to shaving. Like, he's first he start out shaving his chest, and then he go to shaving his head, and I was like, yeah, you having a serious breakdown because you are no longer, and I hope you realize that you are no longer part of the 7.
Yeah, they done with him, but he is a liability at the end of the day, even though we know that we got some others. And here's the thing, is that I don't want to say that they all bad, because I actually think that Queen Maeve, I honestly don't think that she's bad in any way. I think that she is what she is because they've kind of made her into this hard person, and she's lost so much. And I think she even has a conversation about that at some point, and we'll get to that. But meanwhile, we have our good friend Butcher, who has decided that he gonna take Huey to the Mallory. Like, we've heard Mallory's name before. She was the one who started all of this. We even got a little bit of a backstory at some point during the season about how she came to Butcher. And it's very similar to how Butcher has kind of come to Huey, right? It's like history repeating itself. And she's like, why are you here? She's like, why are you here? I'm sorry, I couldn't help it every time. But she was like, why are you here? Like, you promised that you wouldn't come. After she lost what she lost, she don't want nothing to do with this no more. But, like, he not here for it. He not here for it at all, Tigger.
Yeah, Butcher, but he went to where he knew he needed to go. Like he felt like she would be the only person that could actually, help him. Because Mallory, I mean, Trainer turned her back on him. And so it's like, okay, let me go to the one who created this whole mess. Like you are the one that got me into wanting to have vengeance towards, Homelander and the whole all the suits. This is your baby. You created this. And she even tells Huey that she created the group, like she created the boys, in other words. But then there's a moment where she's really, we find out that I think we heard it a little bit earlier, but that lamplighter unalived her grandchildren. And so she's even though she is still angry, she's still just trying to get some normalcy in her life because she tells Huey like vengeance isn't the path to glory. It's only a one-way ticket to a dead end. And that means you're gonna be out here taking pictures of ducks. You know what I mean? Like there's no going forward after you get the vengeance that you think you want to get. And so he kind of listens, but at the end of the day, Huey's gonna follow Butcher, and whatever Butcher says for now is whatever Huey's gonna do.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was such an interesting thing because she really was the fuel to this fire. And when we get towards the end, I really want to talk about like some of the red flags that we have seen this entire time, like even how we have gotten here, because a lot of this was like, what in the world? And I never thought I would see myself on the side of agreeing with something that Homelander said, but there were a few things that he said that was like, shoot, you got a doggone point. But anyway, let's go out to Kimiko because I thought this was so cute. She's like, look, I'm gonna figure this out. She done found this comb. She done combed her hair. She's like, look, she looking cute. I said, okay, Kimiko. Now, when she comes out, though, this is when we learn that they have absolutely been burned completely, and they come at them, and now they gone. Like they take them, and here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, it's a coincidental that but I like one thing you said about Kamiko and her hair and everything. She that baby had her nails done. I was like, go Kamiko. Like she's kind of reverting back to who she probably used to be before they came and snatched her up. You know what I mean? And she looks at her nails like she's excited about that. But then she hears something, and it's apparent she heard something when she ran literally outside of the bathroom door, and she looks. And Frenchie is like, hey, Monsieur, whatever that word is, he always says, hey, Monsieur. And she's like, bruh, this ain't the Monsieur moment. Like something is about to go down. And just as we see two cans of gas go rolling into that room, it smokes them out. I think Frenchie was the one to pass out first, and then they got Mother's Milk and Eminem. He got it. And Kamiko, because of her super strength, I think she kind of got out away from it for a little bit, but then they get outside and she's hiding up under a vehicle. She watches as Kamiko, Jesus, I'm sorry, as Mother's Milk and Frenchie are being hauled off into some van, and then next thing you know, she kind of fading out, looking at her nails, and then they go dragging her away. I'm like, dang, they didn't have to do Kamiko like that. She's fine. Yeah.
Okay, they didn't have to do her like that. That I was like, come on. But she did get out that window because Frenchie told her to leave. He was like, run. And when she jumped out of that window and they stuck that doggone needle, I said, dang, they gonna take her down. Poor baby. I thought she was gonna get away for a second. But it is what it is. She didn't make it out. But you already talked about at the end, like that statement that that Mallory, they names both starts with the M, that Mallory says to Huey as he's leaving, like she's basically warning him. And she even tells like Butcher, like, this is like, you need to just let this go. Like, I know I'm not going to tell you no, but what I am going to say is don't drag the rest of them in. And she gave him that one piece of information that he really needed. And that was that there was something weird going on between Homelander and Madeline, right? That it wasn't a normal relationship and that she might be a key. She might be somebody that could help you find out what his weakness. She didn't know exactly what it was, but she knew it was something, okay?
Yep, and she was definitely kind of hinting possibly that she might actually be the weakness. Because, like you said, there was something else between the two of them. There's something different. There's definitely something different between the two, Madeline and Homelander.
So, so now we got to move on to A Train because we hadn't touched on him yet. A Train goes into a store, right? And it's your typical thing. I mean, I think a lot of us have seen this before, know somebody that this happened to, where people are following you, but they're not following anybody else in the store. But this is happening to A Train, the fastest man in the world. You know, like these people are everywhere. And the fact that he doesn't know what A Train looks like was interesting to me because A Train ain't wearing no mask or any of that type of stuff. He looks the same. He just happens to have on street clothes and he was on crutches. So, you know, maybe that was a little bit off. I don't know. But whatever the fact is, A Train is very, very agitated. Like he's agitated, but some of the other people recognize him. They're like, hey, that's A Train, yada, yada, yada. And then A Train just goes off, girl. He just going off in the store. I'm like, okay, here we go. But I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, but to add insult to injury, we get a image of Stormtrooper and these new pair of shoes. The fastest man, the fastest shoes. You know what I mean? So, like at this point, A Train is no longer the fastest man in the world, and that's another thing that triggers him. Yeah, he got profile. We'll acknowledge that, but you better recognize like I am A Train. But yeah, that's what I think for me. That's what caused the injury, the insult to the injury was seeing Stormtrooper's image and those shoes, and not. Yeah. It used to be A Train, A Train, A Train. Now it's Stormtrooper, and he's not happy about that at all.
Yeah, I get that too because I mean, like that's what your part in the 7 is. How is it that somebody else is gonna get to be the fastest person? Like it feels like they should be in the 7, not you. Okay, so like it's basically somebody coming to take your spot. You gonna take my spot? You know, that's exactly what it is. So anyway, we got to move on back to Huey because after he have his little blow up, I was like, okay, here we go. But Huey and Butcher Butcher notices that they've been taken. Like he's very perceptive when they're on their way back. He notices this. Huey don't have a clue at all, but then he tells him. And then Huey's like, look, what we finna do? Like, how we finna go rescue them? How this finna happen? And then, girl, really? Yeah.
Huey's the team player, and we know that Huey is definitely a team player. Like, this is somewhat of a family for him. It's like his father always told him what he couldn't do, what he was capable of. And the boys are literally a family for him now, especially with Robin being gone. He's kind of developing something with Starlight, but that's up and down because she got pissed off at him because they put her on Front Street. Like you knew this dude was trying to take us down. And so, he wants to go and save his people. Like, let my people go. What are we going to do? And of course, Butcher is like, no, what we're going to do is go get Homelander or go get Madeline Stillwell and take her down and get her and question her. But yeah, he ain't gonna say he finessed her, but he kind of, at first she wasn't trying to hear anything that he was saying, but then once he kind of broke everything down to her and explained, everything that was going on, that his people had got snatched up, he needed her help. And initially she wasn't going to help, but then he said something and she turned and then she started talking and she was like, so what makes you think that I don't feel X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean? So they're connected.
Yeah, because he hit her with the "you're a hero" situation. I said, if y'all sit down, Huey, trying to hit her with the "you a hero." Meanwhile, we have another hero that is kind of losing his heroism because he's losing his speed. Like, I honestly think that the Compound V is what's making him lose his speed because at the end of the day, we learned that Compound V was really not meant to be on adults, right? And now that he's an adult, I don't think he should be shooting up Compound V. It's like, just like any other drug, you do it and you do it and you do it, and eventually you need more and more and more of it, and it has less and less of an effect on you. But who knows what it's actually doing to his body overall and to his quote unquote gift. But we find him up here pulling a train. Like he pulling a train and he's supposed to be on bed rest some doggone where. He's supposed to be healing, but instead his brother have to come up there, and then I think this was a blow for him, even though he tried to act like it wasn't.
Yeah, he definitely came up to him and, he let him know basically he was disappointed. Like, bruh, like you're taking this stuff and it seems like it's not helping you anymore. It's not being effective the way that it needs to be. And so he got in his was that a Jaguar? He got in his Jaguar and peeled off. It was like, see if you can go faster than this. And he's out there struggling pulling on that train. But I was just, I mean, I'm not even. I don't really care about A Train like that. Like, I don't feel for him. I don't have empathy for him simply because of how he did Robin in the very beginning. He had literally no empathy. So if he loses his powers, he loses his powers, and his synthetic powers. I wouldn't, care. And he's heartless. He had a small heart for Claw, but that's about it.
Okay. I mean, that's literally the only person he care about. And if that's the only person that you care about and you're supposed to be a superhero, then that makes you trash anyway at the end of the day, because you were still willing to take her out for just so that you could keep that one thing. Like, because if you truly, truly loved her, like unconditionally beyond yourself, then you would have went on the run with her, and the 7 would have just been, something that you looked back at. Like, that's how I feel about it, but that's not what he chose to do. But we got to get to this party, because we get to, I don't know, party, event, whatever you want to call it. Everybody's, they always having these events, but we finally get to meet the boss, the big man that's been upstairs all this time that we hadn't got to see. And he actually wants to give Madeline his job. I feel like this is what Madeline has been working for all this time. The reason why she's been doing all this crazy stuff, the reason why she's been doing all the shenanigans. And he's like, look, I want you to move to my floor and I want you to shadow me, yada, yada, yada. And he pretty much handing her the reins. And then we have Homelander who pops up and he's like, look, you've been avoiding me. And you've been avoiding me. And so they have a conversation, but Homelander is on some stuff right now. And we're going to get to we're actually going to move right into, well, you know what? Let's talk about Starlight first, because we do have a scene with Starlight and Queen Maeve, and then we'll talk about that old weird ass scene with Homelander. But Starlight is out here drinking. She got on her little thought uniform. I call it the thought uniform because, girl, I don't like that uniform that they be having her wear. She don't like that uniform either. But she over here just drinking and coming on to this guy, and then she end up going in the bathroom and throwing up. And then again, Queen Maeve comes in there, and then she has a real conversation with her.
Yep, and that's when she shows her, yes, I am still human. I am, I really care about what I do, because that script that you think they wrote about me breaking my wrist and my arm in multiple places, no, that actually really happened. My arm still didn't set, properly, didn't set. So she had to kind of show, and prove to Starlight that, hey, yeah, I might be a little off at the moment, but in actuality, I really did want to help people. So it was a realistic moment for her. But I do want to say real quick about Edgar. Shout out to Edgar for coming through with the good waves.
Okay.
He said, start thinking about that view from the 82nd floor. Don't worry about nothing else. Don't worry about your rest of your Homelander, all of them. Don't worry about those folks. Just come to the 82nd, watch what I do, and see how much further you'll end up getting. So.
Okay, that part, absolutely. But yeah, I love that part with Queen Maeve and Starlight, and I think that that's the moment when she decides to go and help. Like, I think before she really was on some, I'm not finna help y'all, I don't care, bye, whatever the case is. But I think in that moment when Queen Maeve kind of reminded her of who she really is and to keep her own identity, I think that's when she was like, you know what, I do need to go and be this hero. But child, listen, right after that, the weirdness starts to go down. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, what am I watching right now? Because Madeline and Homelander are, I don't even know how to describe what they were doing. It was I don't even want to say what I was gonna say. It was just like looking at something that you shouldn't be looking at. It was like, I don't know if I should be watching this right now because it didn't feel right. It didn't look like an adult. It looked like he had reverted back to like a young person. That's all I'm gonna say. It was weird as heck. I don't know.
Yeah, it was 5 seconds of weirdness. I was like, what? What is going? But we know he likes her. He loves her. Like, and any little thing, she manipulates with money, but she manipulates him with her sexuality. Her because she knows that he has, certain feelings for her. So she uses her body basically to get what she wants out of Homelander. But they're laying there, and then he was like, but just don't lie to me anymore. No more secrets, in other words. So yeah, you might have put it down and that only lasted about 5 to 10 seconds. But in actuality, we can't have the secrets because that was, after finding out about Becca being pregnant, and then the baby all of a sudden was unalived and all this other stuff that conversation. And so that's when he was like, no more secrets.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think this is when I really realized that Homelander really got it bad for Madeline, and that Madeline really do have him wrapped around her finger like a lot. I was like, okay, I see it 100% now, because at some point I was like, maybe Homelander just, he just got a fetish and maybe he just playing along with it. But I think it's just more than just that fetish. Like, he really, really, truly like loves this woman like 100%. But we are finally gonna get to our boys again. They locked up. They won't let them out. Ay. But they're locked up and they have Kimiko somewhere else. And our boy decides that he's going to get himself locked up so that he can go and save them. I mean, it was an interesting plan.
Okay. It was a very smart plan. He doesn't have all the muscle, but his brain works when it needs to. And he said, okay, I'm going to get myself, I know this is going to be risky, but I'm going to get myself locked up. He does, like you said, EJ, he gets himself locked up. But then he has this retainer. Now, keep in mind, he has put way too much Polident on this retainer. So he's struggling to try to get it out of his mouth. Frenchie tries to pull it out. He can't pull it out. So Mother's Milk says it's just going to sting a little because he's going to have to pop him on that jaw to help knock that retainer loose. And he literally does just that. But it gets the retainer out of his mouth. And then smartly, they're able to, because Frenchie is perfect at picking locks. And he used that retainer to unlock the lock, So it was a smart plan. I don't think he thought it all the way through, because if he had thought it all the way through, he wouldn't have put as much Polident on it. But, he was successful. He was successful in getting the boys up out of there. And then we're going to see them try to go back and get Kimiko.
Okay, that part. And, that was funny to me when they tried to go get Kimiko, because Mother's Milk wasn't trying to go get Kimiko. He was like, he really wasn't trying to do it. But he was like, he looked at Frenchie, and we know that him and Frenchie have had this interesting relationship because of whatever went down with Mallory, as far as him not following the orders, and Mother's Milk feeling like he was the reasoning why Lamplighter was able to take out her kids the way that she did, because he doesn't do what he's supposed to do. And we saw him do that so many times. He always go off script. He always going off the plan. He just always following what he feels like he should do. So, I get where Mother's Milk where he's coming from with it. But at the same time, I also understand that Frenchie feels like he needs to follow his heart. It is what it is. I don't know. You can't really hate Frenchie. I'm just saying, like, he's just like so freaking lovable. But they end up going to get Kimiko. They get her out of there, and they end a full-blown shootout. And then that's when Starlight actually comes and she helps them, and she actually saves them. They're able to get away, but then A-Train shows up.
I just want to say the shooting with Huey, like, bruh, you never really held a blicky at all ever. And the way that you don't even know how to load the magazine was hilarious to me. But in the midst of Frenchie getting popped, he showed him, okay, now load this magazine and keep just pop, 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 pop. You know what I mean? And so that was a good moment. Like you said, A Train, Starlight showed up, and then A Train showed up, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what is about to go down? Is he gonna run through her and take her out?" But thankfully, she possessed the powers, the electrical powers that she does possess, to kind of stop him from running up on her. Like she, I like her powers. Can I get a little bit of it? But
Oh,
she was the one,
okay.
the only thing that I've seen to be able to stop A Train for right now, anyway, to stop him from all of the moving and all the stuff that he does, and then we see he ends up winning the cardiac.
Yeah, because he's souped up with all that compound V at this point. I mean, he's definitely souped up and he's on like 1,000. And when he sees her, he automatically thinks about what Homelander said from, I think, last episode when Homelander told everybody that she was the traitor, that it was her. And so now he believes that, like, Homelander is right. You are the traitor. When in theory, she didn't have nothing to do with none of this. She just so happened to have a heart and realized that she wanted to be on the right side of things, and she came to help a friend. And what I would even go as far as to say someone that she loves, because I really feel like her and Huey have a very strong connection. But dude ends up having a heart attack. Like, ends up having a heart attack after he done got himself all souped up with this stuff. And Huey, instead of him running away like he could have and just letting that man take his L, he ends up doing CPR and trying to save him. And even Starlight is like, you know, he's never going to stop coming after you. And, you know, she has to convince him to leave because he's like calling ambulance, and she convinces him to leave. And she says that she'll continue on. And what I'm interested in going to the next season is, where does that leave her? Like, what's going to happen with this? Because in theory, she has went against the seven. You know, like, that's what I was starting to think about when we were in that moment. But I mean, I guess that's something we can talk about later. But that was like my first thought process of just that particular scene. But I thought it was selfless of Huey. It just shows the difference between him and Butcher, and the choices that he was willing to make and the sacrifice he was willing to make versus how Butcher did with his friends. This was his enemy. I mean, in theory, you know.
Yeah, that was definitely his enemy, and he could have easily walked away and said, "See ya when I see you." You know what I mean? But he chose, like you said, he chose to stay there and help him start the CPR process. And I would have been like, "Bruh, bye." But that shows the heart. That shows the heart that Huey has, and so yeah, salute to Huey. He's a
Okay,
real superhero.
that part. Now we got to get to, as we're coming closer to the end of this episode, because it gets crazy on this episode. Now, of course, Butcher has this crazy plan. I'm gonna go get Madeline. Madeline makes it back to the house after her little weird session with Homelander. She makes it back to the house. He's there, and he's like, the nanny's upstairs, the baby's upstairs, everybody's fine, right? Everybody's good. And he's talking to her, and his whole thing is that he wants Homelander to come there. And of course, Homelander does come there. But when Homelander gets there, he goes up there and he gets the baby, right? He gets the baby, he brings him down, and he's talking to him. I'm like, you don't even like this baby. You don't like this baby at all. Leave this baby alone. Like, I did not know what was about to happen, because I was just like why he got the baby? What is going on? Like, oh, it was tense, girl. Tense.
Yeah, it was definitely intense. And again, Homelander has been jealous of this baby since we've seen Homelander and the baby actually in the same room. So for him to go upstairs and take the baby, it was also kind of funny that Butcher said that he had gave the nanny a shot of propofol. I know that shouldn't be funny, but he gave her something to knock her out real for a long time. And then everything starts flowing. Homelander is in the building. He's got the baby, comes downstairs, and then they turn this. He basically turns this whole conversation on to Madeline because Madeline has lied to him again. And now he actually knows because he went back and talked to that, I think it was the doctor. He went back and talked to him, and the doctor told him the whole story about Rebecca being pregnant and now actually having the baby. And Homelander is big mad because y'all kept my child from me. Y'all, regardless of the situation, y'all kept that. That's mine. Y'all kept that from me. And so I don't know if you want me to say it, but he literally burnt through her soul. Madeline was up out of here, y'all. She will not be making it to season 2. That's all I can say.
Okay, Madeline is done. She is not gonna make it to the 82nd floor, girl. That's where she's not gonna make it to, because we know that that's all she cared about at the end of the day. But what I find more interesting, that Butcher is sitting up here like, what the heck is going on? He's just kind of, getting the whole show of it all. But he has the detonator in his hand because, of course, he had Madeline in that bomb, and he was like, I'm gonna blow her up. And then Homelander is like, listen, now that she's gone, now that that's out the way, now what's your plan? Like, what you gonna do? And this is what gets me right here, and where I agreed with Homelander. He asked him before, like, so I know you gotta have proof of what you're saying because you believe that I took out Becca, right? So where's your proof? And Homelander even makes a little jab saying that him and Becca was getting it in and that it was consensual, is what he said, right? That's his story. And he's like, when Butcher didn't say anything, when he just had that blank stare, I said, you know what? He don't have no proof. All he know is what Mallory showed him. And that was one of those things that she did to push her agenda. The same way that Butcher went to Huey to push his agenda. All he kept leaning in on was the fact of what they did, what happened to Robin. Like, bump everything else. The only difference is that Huey was just present for this situation, so he knows who it was and he just used it. And that's why I feel like they were similar, because Mallory used the information he didn't know and gave him pieces of it, whether she knew or not, because I don't know if she knew or not, but gave him pieces of it in order to light that fire, right? But we just know that these people, that Huey and Butcher, are just so different. They're just different when it's all said and done. Huey chose a different path, and I think that's what Mallory's whole point was at some point, is that you have to choose how you gonna move at the end of the day. Like, are you gonna go for vengeance, or are you gonna choose a different path, forgiveness, But Butcher didn't, and he hit that button, girl, with that baby right there, and I was done with Butcher. Right then, I said, Butcher, I am done. I don't care. He was just a baby.
Yeah, I was like, Butcher, not the baby. Like, not the baby, but the baby kind of, this is just a thought. The baby is super hero-ish. Would the baby actually survive later on down the line? Because
is the baby superhero-ish?
Yeah. Why do you think the baby been going back and forth to the doctor's appointment? At least I could be wrong, but that baby is a soup.
You think
all
so?
The babies are soup?
He might be. I mean, it would make sense that she would make her baby a soup too, but I didn't know that. I mean, shoot, I didn't see anything where they had gave him, but that makes sense though. Maybe she did give her baby Compound V. Maybe he survived. I don't know. Like, now you got me thinking, like, I don't even know. But girl, the reveal when it's all said and done is because Homelander said, oh, hell no, you don't get to die like this. You don't get to blow it up and that's it. And I'm just going, you know what? I'm going to leave that for my rant here in just a second. But you don't get to blow it up like that. You going to have to finish. You're going to have to see this through. And then that's when we get the big reveal.
A very big reveal. He is laid out on the ground. First of all, he's laid out on the ground. Sun is bright, shining, as if everything that just happened was a whole dream. He looks up, sees this little blind kid walking out the door, and then he sees Becca. Like, what the F? You're supposed to be dead. What the heck is going on? And I was like, oh my gosh, she really, really, really is. He is about to lose whatever remainder of his mind he's got. He's going to have a lot of questions. I was with Highland. I mean, I was with Butcher. Like, what the heck is going on? You dirty, Becca. You dirty for doing Butch. Like, you shouldn't have done Butcher like that. You could have called and let him know what was going on. You got this man out here. Oh, I'll say that for my rant. But yeah, the big reveal that there's a child as well as Becca still being live.
Okay, little blonde, little blue-eyed thing come out there, and then his eyes turn red and looking just like Homelander. I said, now dang. And Homelander, he just loved to rub it in. He just like making it this theatric. I was like, oh my God. So Becca's not gone. She been here all this time. Clearly, I don't know if this is free will or not, but it felt free will to me in this moment. That's what it felt like. I don't know if she was told certain things. That's the story that we need to know, y'all. But I mean, that was everything that happened in this season finale. It was a really good season finale. And listen,
talk that rain. I said what I said.
Man, I got a lot to say about these characters. And that's why my rant is going to be about Butcher. Like, Butcher. And listen, I realized too, after we did our other episode, that 30 seconds apparently is a short amount of time, because we be running up them 30 seconds. Oh no. We might have to put a minute on the board for this right here, because listen, first and foremost, a Butcher has got to be the most selfish person ever. Like, seriously, you bring all of these people into your issue, your problem, and then you leave them high and dry. Like, you literally were going to let them die because you knew that you were on a suicide mission. You knew that at the end of the day, that no matter how this went, you were going to go on a suicide mission, but you didn't even let nobody else in on it. You just did this, and you didn't even care about this little baby. I don't care if this baby, if he got compound V in his system or not. You didn't even know. All you knew is that a child was in the room, and you chose to blow up Homelander all because you wanted this revenge, all to find out that your wife is not even dead, that she was never dead, and that she done had a baby and everything, and she's been out here raising this man's child. She didn't even have your child. She had another man's child, and she's raising that child, and she didn't even try to get you a message. She didn't try to send you no pigeon, bird, or nothing to drop, so just so you wouldn't worry. But you did all of this for her, and now she's alive. And now Mother's Milk and Frenchie and Kimiko and Huey all could be dead. But you don't know that they not. But they could be because you left them to die. Man, Bump Butcher, I'm done. Tag you in, Tika.
Listen, my rant is for Rainer, it's for Mallory, it's for Rebecca. All three of the ladies who Butcher truly trusted. He had, he felt like those were the people who somewhat cared for him the most, who kind of empowered him, who gave him the strength to be who he is. And the three of them to betray him, Rainer, Mallory, and Rebecca, y'all are garbage. And that's my rant.
She said they all garbage, bump all of them. But I mean, yeah, so I mean, that it is what it is. Listen, if y'all have a rant, or if there is somebody that just really irked you in episode 8, then please drop down in the comments and let us know who it was and why. And go ahead and get it off your chest, because why not?
Now it's time for the top 3, our picks, our takes, no debate.
It was a lot of moments in this particular episode, but I ain't gonna lie, probably right now my top moment is the reveal. The reveal at the end had to be one of the biggest moments, knowing that Rebecca was actually alive and that none of this stuff, all of this stuff was for nothing, because that's what I felt like. I was like, oh, this all was for nothing.
For number 2 for me, I know it seems pretty simplistic, but it was just a moment where Kimiko was able to get herself together. She was in the mirror. She was combing her hair. She had cleaned herself up, looking like a whole new woman. Looked like she had some makeup. I don't know. Maybe she just got a natural glow, but she looked really pretty. She got her nails together. And then she had this, she smelled the lotion. and I'm assuming she put the lotion on too. So it was like it was just the moment just to see her pretty and kind of somewhat feeling good, like, oh, everything is gonna be okay. So it was comforting for me. That was one of my top moments
I like
of
that
the season.
moment too. That was a good moment. So I'm gonna go number three. I'm gonna go with Huey being selfless. Because the way I would have let A Train lay there and just whatever happened, happened, and the way I would have walked away, I would have ran, not walked, as a matter of fact. The way I would have ran away and left him there, yeah, Huey is a real one for that one. And that definitely, to me, deserves to be in our top three. Because why, Huey? Why?
Ab- Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
anyway, y'all, that was what's up with the boys. This was season one. This was episode 8. We have watched all 8 episodes now. This is the finale. And I must say that I'm glad that we did this. I'm glad that we watched this because this is really, really good. And I cannot wait to see how it's going to go down in season 2. I'm excited for it.
They did a lot of revealing in the first season, but season two, I feel like there are some questions, especially with Rebecca or Becca and this Homelander's son and all this other stuff. How is Butcher supposed to move now? Is he still going to be out and about for vengeance, or is he just completely done? Is he just going to go away and just let it go? So I'm definitely this was absolutely fun to watch. It was crazy, some crazy moments. The Smex scenes were hilarious. 5 seconds of pleasure. Okay. Shout out to Homelander and Madeline. R.I.P. Madeline. But it was great. It was great. I was here for it all. I was here for it all. And just definitely look forward to season two.
All right. So y'all make sure that y'all join us for season 2 because we definitely gonna get into it. Make sure if you are not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on to all so that you do not miss out on any of our future The Boys talks. Make sure to go ahead and leave a comment for us down below and let us know what you thought about season 1 of The Boys. And we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Talk that. Talk that. Talk that.